I write every day. I'm writing a book now, a companion book for the movie The Shift. And so we're going to bring this out, early next year. And so it's like I'm on a writing binge or whatever it is that you call it right now. But I have all of these little rituals that I go through that I don't think of as I come over to my writing space, I close the door, I take a nap, I'll lie down, I'll give myself however long I want to have, I'll free up the afternoon, and then I'll go over and sit down and write, and I'll say, oh, it's not quite right yet. And I'll sit down and I'll meditate and I'll get very quiet, and then all of a sudden a spark goes off inside of me, and that's I call it my intuitive voice, and it's really God speaking to me. I've often said it, if prayer is you talking to God, then your intuition is God talking to you. And it's like, if you're not ready to write, if you haven't really set yourself up for that creative enterprise, don't be hard on yourself. Don't tell yourself that you should be doing that and the writing has to be, because what happens when you do that is you get into a place called striving. You get into trying and struggling and making this thing that you want to do, that you know how to do. What I would do, if I were you, I would go into that, whatever. If you want to rest, rest. If you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you want to get on the telephone and talk to me from Vancouver, get on the telephone. Get very peaceful. But then begin to just imagine, see in your imagination, see this project being completed. Just see it completed. Because I've already seen the book done and completed. I've already got the book jacket in front of me. And I'm still 3 months away from finishing the writing of it. But rather than making it difficult, making it a chore, making it hard, make the creative process something that is just so sweet and then just sort of suspend yourself, get your ego out of the picture completely, and remind yourself, you're not writing this, you're not creating this, you're just a vehicle, allowing it to come through you. That God writes all the speeches and writes all the books and delivers all the talk. That intuitive part of you, just let it do it, and it'll flow right out of you. What happens is we get our ego involved in it, and then we have to struggle with it, and then we say, well, creative work is hard work, and you have to and we've learned these are memes that we learned when we were very little boys and little girls, that you have to work very hard to make things happen. And I think that the people who are the greatest at whatever they do, I watched Tiger Woods swing a golf club, and he doesn't look like he's having any effort, how difficult it is at all. I watched Roger Federer play tennis, and he just glides along the court. And I watched Michael Jordan play basketball, and my goodness, he can soar through the air because he wasn't trying so hard. He was just allowing his natural connection to his source to fulfill itself out there on the court. And I think you can do that in your writing as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everything that you fight weakens you. It doesn't empower you. It's trying to make creation difficult. The creative process, to think like God thinks. Here's what I would do. Here's the steps that I would take. I would, in my mind, in my imagination, I would see it as already completed. If nothing else, I would have a picture of it already completed there to look at. And I would then go to the feeling state within my body and assume the feeling of this wish already fulfilled. And then every time I thought about, every time this subject of this animation thing that I'm going to do would come up, I would go to that feeling of how good it feels to have this completed. And then I would work from the end. I would meditate on it. I would sit down. I would be peaceful about it. And then I would stop telling myself that it's me that has to do this, that I'm doing this, that this is my job. I have to do it. I would just say, what St. Francis said when he was starting his prayer. He said, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. He didn't say, please give me some peace. I don't have any peace. Everybody wants something from me. Everybody wants to be saved. Everybody wants to be healed. He didn't say that. He said, make me an instrument of thy peace. In other words, let me be what you are. Let me be in that place of effortless perfection, what the Japanese call shibumi. Let me be in that place of effortless perfection. Just allow it to flow. And then just watch, and it'll flow, and it'll be the sweetest writing that you've ever done. And then if it isn't exactly the way you want it, give it to an editor, because there are people who incarnated to come here to be editors as well. Don't deny them, That's what I do. I have an editor, Joanna Pyle, up in Bainbridge Island in Washington. And she's been my editor for 30 years, and I just let it come, and then I turn it over to her. I said, okay, now you rearrange this and do that and fix this and put it in its place, because that's what she's here for, And a lot of what's in The Shift, the movie The Shift, is very much like that. I always love what Picasso said. I think I quoted it a few weeks ago, what Picasso said about his painting. He said, when I enter my painting studio, he said, I leave my body at the door the way the Muslims leave their shoes when they enter the mosque. Yeah, and it's like, so leave your body at the door, and just paint from your soul and write from your soul.